FBI/CIA agents of Reddit, what's something that you can tell us without killing us? I worked with the Australian Federal Police with the Spider Squad doing computer stuff for them in regards to pedos and finding trafficking victims. It is the most heartbreaking work, but when you get them, the office looked like NASA after a Mars landing. My dad worked for GCHQ in the 80s doing voice recognition, and he can't say anything more for a decade more. The way they can recognize you by Siri/Google today was being used in the 80s. Just a bit slower. Not entirely related, but I've always had a theory that the government is years, maybe decades, ahead in technology than the general public, and they control our technological advances as well so the wrong person or country doesn't get ahead and becomes a threat. I was an analyst, not an agent, officer. 85% of all classified material is classified because of how it was collected, not because it is juicy, useful. Yes, your boss and co-workers said that shit about you. I heard, just 2 days ago, that there is a saying in the government, no one ever got fired for classifying a document. Hence there is huge excess secrecy. Yours is the most believable comment in this thread. My aunt has been an FBI agent for 25 years. The only thing I know about her job is that she's an office administrator. But, her information went public somehow when she was part of the team that investigated the Mandalay Bay shooting in Las Vegas. Someone found the name and address of most of the agents that worked that scene and put it up online. Not sure why. She also took me and my family on a tour of the Las Vegas FBI headquarters about 15 years ago. One thing interesting that I remember about the building is that all the doors were floor-to-ceiling 9-foot doors. Thought that was weird. All the doors were floor-to-ceiling 9-foot doors. Existence of reptiloidians confirmed. My high school girlfriend worked for the National Reconnaissance Office after college. At the time, they were responsible for analyzing the nation's spy satellite photos. She told me 2 things. There's a special garbage chute for classified materials. It's in the hallway. When you are new, as a hazing ritual, they tell you you have to shout your badge number down the chute before throwing in any materials. This is hilarious. She wouldn't tell me anything about the resolution quality of the spy photos, of course, but she did let it slip that because Russian sailors will sunbathe nude on the decks of their submarines in the Black Sea, several women in the office would pin those photos up in their cubicles as cheesecake beefcake photos. So a few decades ago, US spy photos could resolve Russian penis. Edit, credit/u/seditious3. Did they crunch the numbers to better understand size of the Russian cocks, the min, max, and potential for growth? If a 60 SR-71 could read a golf ball while hauling ass at 80,000 feet, I believe a satellite can take sexes of a Russian seaman. We are all told never to use sites like this, and social media in general is pretty much a no-go. I'm telling. What if you've already heavily used them before applying? Do you get denied? Yeah, you'd like to know what accounts belong to FBI/CIA agents, wouldn't you? Yes. You know, reverse card on FBI would like to know your location. My dad worked for the government, and he told me that anytime he had a meaningful interaction with someone who wasn't American, e.g. going over to my friend's house for Lunar New Year, or going on vacation to Canada, he had to report it all, and if he saw anything suspicious. Yep. Went through a clearance upgrade and got asked about a couple of people that I know through friends who I didn't include on my paperwork, and if I knew their background. I'm picturing meeting your dad in a bar or something. Hiya. I'm /thingy, from Australia. What's your drink in there? Dad pulls out walkie-talkie. We got a 10 to 15, I repeat, a 10 to 15. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but a mentor who definitely wasn't supposed to tell me used to be a white hat for the FBI. Apparently, all he did was search for pedophiles by tracking child pornography. He said he didn't stay for very long because it was messing with his mentality. Edit, if you guys were wondering, he left to join the Navy. became a newchem, but they pulled him out of the program because of his cybersecurity skills, and before I left our command, he was helping our CMC connecting his computer to a projector. Sorry to put you on the spotlight, EM1. One of the top posts in this thread is about exactly that. I guess a lot of rookies are put on that duty and most of them wash out because of the psychological toll. My college roommate was trying to get into the FBI/CIA and she ended up with a job offer. She's the one person I know who could actually work for the FBI/CIA. She would wake up at 4 AM for a 15+ mile run alone. She would choose to not eat after 8 PM to work on her self-control. She got all homework and stuff done before 5 PM every day and would study for her 2 language classes on the weekend. She was crazy diligent and had no social media. She never wanted to be photographed either. My brother is big into IT shit and scrubbed himself off the internet somehow and showed her how to do it. If you go through the FBI interview process, it takes a while. Chances are you're going to have to spend some time working on crimes against children, which is really tough and most people don't want to do it. Yeah, I heard a story here on Reddit about how somebody was involved in a case against a predator, and he had to go through every image on his hard drive to flag anything that was child porn. That case drove him out of the industry. I can't even imagine. I used to work for a CDN, and part of my job was taking in reports of CP, verifying it and forwarding it onto our FBI contacts. I lasted 6 months. And only because my wife and child would have starved otherwise. That was over a decade ago, still has me fucked up. There are some fucked up people in this world and they do some pretty fucked up things. An ex-company man once told me Get Smart was more accurate than James Bond. Pretty sure being a famous spy is a sign things aren't going well. I saw a post the other day, can't remember if it was here or on Twitter, about how awful a spy Bond actually is, when you think about it. Falls for damn near every honeypot, tells people his code name constantly. Worked with a woman who was former NSA. We would always beg her to tell us shit, but she never did. The one thing she did say, though, was that during training they show them a video of a bunch of things they've found out about and stopped. She said she hardly slept for 2 weeks after watching that. I have a relative that retired from the NSA a few years ago. She has talked about a few things in generalities, nothing specific. Among them, you will see things that entirely change your view of the world. People go in there all the time with lofty goals of changing things, and within months those goals are mostly gone. Still, if you want to change things, you work for the agency. If you just want to make money, you work for a contractor. No one cares what contractors have to say. Most people that stay long enough will do a tour in counterterrorism. Many people transfer out after a few months, and the average stay is 2 years because of the visuals. Those who stick around for a long time often change for the worse, and many struggle with mental illnesses, become alcoholics, get divorced, and generally lead miserable lives with their work their only reason for continuing. Alcoholism in general is rife in the agency. When you cannot speak to anyone outside the agency about your work, it becomes nearly impossible to confide in anyone close to you. Even if you have close work friends or family, you have to be careful what you say because not everyone is read into every program. 2 people can sit next to each other in the same office, working on the same subject for months, and never talk about it with each other even though they're close friends outside the agency. So people turn to the bottle. Her husband worked for a different government agency and also had a top-secret SCI clearance, but she couldn't talk about her work with him, nor could he with her, but his didn't involve the intelligence community. The agency employs psychiatrists who are cleared to be read into almost any program. Going to them, though, is often seen as a mark of shame among other agency employees, so they are not used nearly as often as they should be. She told me most of these things while trying to recruit me. She believed that I should go in knowing what to expect. I eventually declined to apply. My aunt worked at the NSA, too. She never told us what she did. If anything, it was just about her co-workers. She convinced one to leave her abusive husband. Even if you wanted to get a job there, asking her what jobs they had was like trying to pull a tooth. She'd just say that any job outside of the NSA was in the NSA as well. As far as I know, she worked with foreign language stuff. BC, she's a bit of a polyglot. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.